The Tale of Patufet, a Catalan folk story. Once upon a time, there was a father and a mother who had a son so small, so very tiny, that they called him Patufet. One day, his mother, while cooking the stew, said, "Oh, son, I can't find the saffron anywhere." His father, a strong and hard-working man, made his living among fishing nets and boats. But Patufet was a cheerful and clever child who got into everything and poked his nose in every corner. Upon hearing his mother, his play stopped. A flicker of concern crossed his little face, and he immediately answered, "Mother, if there's no saffron, I can go and get some for you." But his mother was frightened. "Where do you think you're going? You're too little, and people could step on you in the street." She imagined him small as a chickpea among horses' hooves and cartwheels. But Patufet already had a plan.
Patam, Patum, y ningú em trepitjarà.
"I'll go there singing, so even if they don't see me, they'll hear me." His father, with pride and fear, stroked his head. He was such a stubborn little mule. And to make him quiet, his mother gave him a small coin and a little pouch for the saffron. "All right, that's enough, Patufet. Here's a coin. Now go to Joseph's shop." And up the street went that stubborn little mule, with clogs, a barretina hat, and velvet breeches. With one last brave smile, he said goodbye to his parents. And, all alone in the big world, he began his journey, singing so he would be heard. Patim, Patam, Patum, men and women of the town.
Patim, Patam, Patum, home i dona del capell de palla. Patim, Patam, Patum, no trepitgeu el Patufet.
Patim, Patam, don't you step on Patufet. And his voice worked magic. His words protected him like a golden shield. A giant foot stopped mid-air, frightened by the light, and carefully stepped to the side. A cartwheel changed its path so as not to touch him, rolling right around him.
Patufet, where are you going?
Even a dog, who sniffed at him, stopped in confusion and walked away. And he continued, singing in lakes that were mere puddles and forests that were broom bristles. He walked among giant stalls and fruits that looked like mountains of color. And so he arrived at Joseph's shop, the finest shop in all the land. From below he shouted, "Hey, hey, I want a coin's worth of saffron." The shopkeeper looked here and there, but couldn't see anyone. And the shopkeeper finally saw a single coin wobbling all by itself on the floor. He bent down, picked it up, and in its place left a little paper packet of saffron.
Allà va, petit. Allà, el saffrà.
Patufet took the saffron, placed it upon his head like a golden crown, and went out into the street. And out of fear, the people hid, unable to see who was singing, while down the street went a little paper packet, all alone, all alone. Happy and singing, Patufet began his journey back home, with his treasure shining bright, proudly, content. And Patufet, with the saffron on his head, began his walk home, singing merrily. But halfway there, it suddenly began to rain very hard. Huge raindrops, as big as his head, began to smash into the ground with a great splash. Patufet ran to find shelter, terrified by the downpour. He slipped on the wet cobblestones, trying to protect his precious saffron. And finally, he saw salvation, a large green cabbage leaf fallen from a cart. He dove under it. And there, dry and safe, he checked that the saffron still shone intact. But outside, a hungry bull, let loose from its pen, prowled the empty market. Heavy, deliberate, smelling the fresh scent of the cabbage, the bull approached, its hooves splashing through puddles. It lowered its massive head and sniffed the green leaf with interest. And with one sure bite, it swallowed the entire leaf.
Onsok? Onsok?
And with it, without even realizing, it also swallowed Patufet, who suddenly found himself in the dark, inside the warm belly of the bull. Later that day, Patufet's father and mother searched for him everywhere without any luck. They began to call out in despair, "Patufet, where are you? Patufet, where are you?" And they went here and there without stopping their calls. "Patufet, where are you? Patufet, where are you?" And Patufet, from afar, from the warm belly of the bull, answered them, "I'm in the bull's belly, where it neither snows nor rains." Frustrated, not hearing, but the father and mother could not hear him. Until the father, putting his ear to the bull, heard his son's voice and understood the incredible truth. And do you know what his parents did? Well, they began to feed the bull and feed the bull some more. They gave him beans and more beans, and then a great big bucket of water. The bull ate and drank so very much that in the end, the bull went and boom! And like a lightning bolt, out came Patufet, clean and bright, as if nothing had happened, with his saffron still shining on his head. His parents, full of joy and relief, hugged him tightly in the straw, crying with happiness. His father lifted him onto his shoulders and carried him home in a victory parade, while the village watched in surprise. At home, his mother immediately prepared a nice warm bath for her hero, filling a tub with bubbly water.
Que bé que fa!
There, sitting in the water, his mother tenderly washed his hair and face, cleaning off all the mud from the strange adventure. And Patufet, laughing, played with the soap bubbles
Mira, el safrà!
and proudly showed them the saffron, which shone intact like a little treasure. His father took the saffron and added it to the paella pot simmering over the fire, and the kitchen filled with a wonderful golden aroma. They lifted Patufet from the bath, wrapped him in a huge soft towel, and dried him carefully by the fireside. They dressed him in clean, warm pajamas, and then covered him in kisses that made him laugh without stopping. And finally, the whole family sat at the table before a glorious, steaming paella to share the sweetest of feasts. And Patufet, safe and loved, took the first spoonful,
Està boníssim.
smiling between his parents. And here's a dog, and here's a cat, and so this tale is done.